On today's episode of Warehouse Safety Tips, we're going to be talking about spill protocol. So stay tuned. Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. If you're a seasoned vodcast viewer, this vodcast is going to be different from most that you watch. It's based around exactly what the name implies, warehouse safety tips. And since the people in this industry are busy, we know that time is money, so each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now, with all that out of the way, let's get to the vodcast. Thank you for being part of another episode of Warehouse Safety Tips. Today we're talking about spill protocols, what to do in case you do have a spill. They're unavoidable, they're gonna happen, but the way that you handle them is gonna be something that is gonna be very important to follow. We have 6 things that we'd like to talk to you about today, and these are not necessarily the end-all, be-all steps, tips, tricks, but if you follow them, they're going to be a great way to get started and make sure that you have safety as top of mind in your facility. So the very first thing that we want to talk about is when something happens, you make sure that there is notification. What that means is just making sure that the proper people know about it. That could be maintenance, that could be some sort of management, it could be a team that handles that specific sort of a duty in case of a big spill or something like that, but just making sure that everyone knows that it's happened and it's been marked off as such. The next thing is going to be assessing what it is that has happened. So again, if it's just a very small spill, if it's a medium spill, if it's a big spill, what sort of spill that has happened. It could be something as simple as somebody dumping over a bucket of mop water, to a machine leaking fluids, to possibly some sort of a barrel being tipped over that has maybe hazardous chemicals in it. And that is going to bring us to the third thing, which is going to be precautions. So if it's something as simple as water, you may not have as many precautions as just maybe making sure that the area is cordoned off, that you have put in, that you've put out wet floor signs and things like that so that nobody can get hurt or track the moisture somewhere else. But if it's something of a more hazardous nature, you may actually have to have hazmat type situations. You might have to have some sort of an immediate spill kit put out that is going to do what the next step is, which is contain and stop that particular leak. So the very first thing you want to do is make sure that you have identified what's happening, that you've either stopped the situation from happening or that you've contained it. And then that leads us into the fifth thing, which is cleaning that up. Now, as mentioned before, a spill kit such as absorbent bags, or having bags in the location where you're cleaning something up and then putting it into the bags, or just anything that has to do with a spill kit that has been implemented. And then the last thing is, and this is something that we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, which is these are not the end-all be-all rules. So make sure that you know your specific locations guidelines, and if there are any sort of organizations or anything else such as OSHA that are mandating rules in your particular facility, that you're following those as well. Now, we mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast, but following these things are not, again, the end-all be-all, but if you follow them, you'll be well on your way to safety, containment, and making sure that nobody is either injured or affected in any way by the spill that has occurred, and that you've been able to get it contained. So again, thank you for being part of another episode of Warehouse Safety Tips, and until we talk to you next time, stay safe, and here is a word from one of our sponsors.
It's scientifically unexplainable. It's virtually indestructible. And it's taking over the entire planet. But in a really good way. It's Mighty Line Floor Tape, the most durable floor tape in the world. 7 times thicker than average floor tape. Beveled to endure pounding warehouse traffic. And backed with a super strong peel and stick adhesive, so you'll never have to worry about painting shop floors again. Mighty Line Floor Tape, the only durable stripe.